our second title match where there was not a new champion crowned. Um, the next contest was Roman Reigns having his first televised singles match since October when he announced that he had leukemia, took on Drew McIntyre. And it was a fairly short match at only 10 minutes, but McIntyre, to his credit, is an unbelievable workhorse. He pulls off moves, but then the story started to go. He was going to, do copy all of the Shield's finishing maneuvers. He started to go for his old finishing maneuver, which is called the Future Shock, which now is called Dirty Deeds. But Reigns got out of that. Then McIntyre slapped him, and that woke up Roman. They did a sequence where McIntyre hit the Glasgow Kiss headbutt. Reigns rebounded off the ropes and gave him McIntyre the Superman punch. But Reigns hits the spear and defeats Drew McIntyre in his first televised match back since he relinquished his first televised singles match, I should say, since he relinquished his Universal Championship in October. And then we had the no-holds-barred match between Batista and Triple H. Holy crap. I don't know what to say about this one. To start off, Triple H found a toolbox and hit Batista with it. Then he pulled out pliers and was crushing Batista's fingers. And then he brought out needle nose pliers and put a chair right on Batista's throat. And he goes, "Gee, that's a really nice nose ring." And he pulls the nose ring out with these needle nose pliers. I thought I'd seen it bad when Randy Orton put a screwdriver in Jeff Hardy's earlobe, because he does the expanding earlobe thing. But this had to have been one of the most bizarre things I'd ever seen. Then Batista came back. At one point in the match, Triple H powerbombed Batista on the steel steps that Batista brought into the ring. Now, at this point, Triple H had already brought in the sledgehammer, but Batista had possession of it. And then, out of nowhere, Ric Flair shows up and gives Triple H a sledgehammer. And as Batista's getting up, Ric Flair's jaw-jacking with him. And Batista goes, "Well, yeah, this one's for you, buddy." And just as he turns around, Triple H does what I would consider to be a Superman sledgehammer shot, because he ran and leapt off the stairs and nailed Batista in the head with a sledgehammer. A pedigree later, and after 24 minutes, Triple H wins the match, and his in-ring career is intact. In kind of a sad, bittersweet moment following that was Kurt Angle's retirement match. And of all the people, I've said of all the people that they could have had, Baron Corbin, nothing against Baron Corbin. I don't like the guy. I don't like his character. But he put on a good match tonight. Unfortunately, Baron Corbin got the win after Kurt tried to do a moonsault, and Corbin missed. Corbin moved, I should say, and then Corbin hit the end of days on Kurt Angle. But Kurt got on the mic, thanked the crowd for 20 years of his career, and he wanted to hear those two words one last time. So they played his music, and the whole crowd started chanting, "You suck," which is a term of endearment to uh, Kurt Angle. And the next match, which was the semi-final match, Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush was defending the Intercontinental title against the Demon, Finn Balor. I think the highlight of this match was the Demon's entrance. It was a WrestleMania-worthy entrance. Another relatively short match because they were running off, over quite a bit. This match only lasted about 4 minutes, but in the end, Balor hits Bobby Lashley with a power bomb, and then does a impressive coup de grace, top rope double stomp to win the title for the second time. And then the main event, where there's going to be some controversy on this one. It was the winner-takes-all triple threat match for the Raw Women's and SmackDown Women's Championship, where Ronda Rousey defended the Raw title, Charlotte Flair defended the SmackDown Women's title, and Becky Lynch was the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. There was a few mistakes in the match, but I think at that point everybody in the crowd was just tired, because it was past midnight when the match started. But Becky Lynch wins the match and is now the Raw Women's and SmackDown Women's Championship. However, the replay showed that Ronda Rousey's shoulders were not down when the ref counted 3. So, in the record books, it's going to say Ronda Rousey's first pinfall loss, in WWE, and that Becky Lynch gets the win. So, that's WrestleMania. There was a segment in there with Elias. It was kind of clever. It was cleverly done, actually. They showed Elias on a drum set, and he was drumming pretty good. Then they showed Elias on a piano or keyboard, and he did really good. And then he cut back to the arena, and there's Elias in the ring with his guitar. And they did a pretty good, jam session between the three. The 2 pre-recorded Eliases and the live one. And the crowd started chanting something, and when they chant, especially if they're from Europe, the UK, they do their chants based off of Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. So as they're chanting, Elias starts to play that on his guitar, and as he's about to go into another song, we hear a song we haven't heard. We actually hear a radio broadcast with old film footage of Babe Ruth, the day that he called out his shot to center field, hit the home run, and went to center field. And then we hear a song that we have not heard in a very long time. That song was Basic Thugonomics, which meant that the old John Cena had returned. The chain wearing with the paddle lock, the rings that say word life on them, the Babe Ruth jersey, the Yankee hat backwards, and they had a in-ring confrontation, and Cena did his old rap character. It ended with Cena giving Elias the attitude adjustment, which he dubbed the FU, which was what it was back in 2002 to 2007, I believe. But overall, it wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be. Like I said, NXT head and shoulders above as far as quality of matches. But I really can't pick a match of the... Well, I could. But there really wasn't any good matches for me, um, with the exception of the WWE Championship match between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. I mean, the crowd was super hyped for Kofi. They just went ballistic when he won. I actually did a Periscope feed for the last 2 minutes of the match, and I just said, "Holy crap, Kofi won!" And then I had this shocked look on my face. But tomorrow night is the Raw after WrestleMania, and that's usually the most raucous Raw after Mania. And there tends to be some debuts after after WrestleMania debuts. Disappointed that there was no Kevin Owens. Disappointed that there was no Undertaker, and this was the first time since WrestleMania 2000 that there was no Undertaker at a WrestleMania. So 19 years. The first time that we hadn't had an Undertaker sighting at WrestleMania. And then Tuesday we have the SmackDown after Mania. And SmackDown and Raw both will be in, I believe, Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And the reason it's so rowdy and raucous is because half the crowd that was at WrestleMania tonight from, other countries and whatnot are going to be at Raw and SmackDown both. They treat it as a vacation. So just be on the lookout for that. Usually, like I said, usually we see some NXT call-ups, on Raw and SmackDown, some returns from injury or new signees. Maybe we'll finally find out where EC3, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, Aleister Black, and Ricochet. We might find out what brand they're going to be at, now that WrestleMania is over, and things are just going to start building up again until SummerSlam in August. They announced the next WrestleMania next April will be from Tampa Bay, and it looks to be like it's going to be a pirate theme. So I'm thinking Kairi Sane might be called up before then, and they'll have her go after a women's championship. But that's going to wrap it up, this live WrestleMania recap podcast. I just want to thank you all for all the listening, and even though you do it on demand, I still want to thank you guys. I can't wait to have my first interview. It's either going to be Tomiko or it's going to be Sugar. From both of them, one or two. I'm going to have one of them on the show in the very near future, and I can't wait. So, this is your host Mike signing off on this very special edition of the Washington Wrestle Talk. This has been the WrestleMania recap. The next pay-per-view is May 19th. Money in the Bank, and anything really can happen at Money in the Bank. Last year we had Alexa Bliss cash in the Money in the Bank that same night, and she defeated Nia Jax to win the Raw Women's title. But until then, I will probably do a Raw recap tomorrow, because I will get to watch it live. Probably won't do a SmackDown recap until next Sunday, because here on the West Coast, I don't get to see SmackDown until I believe, 8 o'clock.